Hello everyone, and welcome to The Madness of Redacted. It's a horror, sort of eldritch cosmic horror visual novel created by Marisu, Cookie, and Signy. The art style is really what jumped out at me as making me want to try this one out. It's very, very interesting looking, and I am a bit of a sucker for a good cosmic horror, and I really just sort of really enjoyed other games such as Elevator Hitch from the game jam that this is from, the Spooktober visual novel game jam. It's literally right there on the screen. But yeah, I really liked Elevator Hitch, and this was another game from the same game jam, and so I was really looking forward to giving this a shot and seeing what the author has in store for us. With that, let's go ahead and get started. I said get started. There we go. All of the events I'm about to tell you are true. It was a foggy autumn day in my hometown, Hamburg. Everything happened during one single day and night. I'm writing all of this down because the world has to know. Because knowledge is the only thing that matters. My memory has become foggy these days, but I'm not allowed to forget. The incident. Well, I did not expect them to print my article that small. It's so far in the back, too. Look at that font, it's barely legible. I didn't even know you could print something so tiny. How dare they treat me like that? Oh well, it's not like this hasn't happened before. I guess the news these days likes to focus on gossip rather than carefully investigated crimes. But this new case was a curious one. It reminds me of another one from a few years ago, when I was still a rookie journalist. Wonder if somehow, by some chance, those cases are connected to each other. I think I should add my article to my wall of interesting cases. Yeah, I think it fits perfectly here. What else do I have so far? Let me take a look. I gotta get my mouse in here. Okay. This is my newest article from today's newspaper. Burglary in the museum at midnight. On Tuesday night, an unknown group of people broke into the Museum of History and Craftsmanship in Hamburg. Nothing but a single item was stolen from the archives of the museum. Historians say that the object dates back to at least 15,000 years ago. However, nothing else is known about its origin. At current stage of investigation, no witnesses have been found. According to the curator, the object is of low monetary value, so the exact motive of the thieves is unknown. This is an article from 3 years ago, when I just started out as a journalist. I didn't write it myself. In fact, I have no idea who wrote about the incident back then. But I do know that the article was published in the Sunday newspaper in Berlin. It says, on Thursday night, a historic artifact was stolen from the Museum of Berlin. Nothing was broken and no alarm was activated during the break-in. It is suspected that the thieves had help or access to the security system of the museum. The stolen object is made of an unknown metal alloy and dates back to 20,000 years ago. It was originally found in 1882 at a historic burial site in the Mediterranean region. Weirdly enough, the police dropped that case rather quickly, and the thieves were never found. This one is about the theft of a private collection that happened almost a decade ago. As far as I know, the collector remained anonymous. Unfortunately, the valuables were never recovered. Theft of private collection in Hamburg. Several papyrus manuscripts were stolen on Sunday night. All documents are of unknown monetary value, but the collector claims they have high historical value. The collector stated the manuscripts originate from the Mediterranean region. Sometimes I wonder what's written in old scrolls like these, and if we can ever decipher them. Is there more to read here? This one is about the theft that actually happened during an auction. The stolen objects were probably worth a lot if somebody was ready to undertake a risky operation like this, or they had some personal motive for the act. A theft occurred during an auction for historic artifacts in Munich. 2 stone tablets were stolen from the auction house storage room while security was preoccupied with the auction in the main room. The age and origin of the tablets are still unknown. According to sources in attendance at the auction, the museum in Hamburg was interested in buying the pieces. And that's it. Finished looking over the articles, I sat down in my chair, taking a look at the stack of books laying on the desk. I still have to sign these soon. The bookstore down the street is waiting for the signed copies for the new publishing event next week. Should I practice writing my pen name a few times beforehand? Oh well. The busy life of being a journalist by day and an author by night. But if I didn't write these books, many mysteries that happen in the world every day would never be put down to paper. Newspapers don't want me to write about such events. But once they come in the form of a book under the guise of being completely fictional, people are suddenly interested in them. Ah well, it's no use to complain about it. It is what it is. The Case of the Lost Heir. A book about a young noblewoman who vanishes one day without a trace, leaving behind only questions. I changed all the names, but the events in this book are based on an abduction I heard about in France. My good luck charm. It's an heirloom from my mom. I always carry it with me to remember her and Dad. I shouldn't forget to take the charm with me when I leave the house. Secrets of a Diary. A story about an unresolved family murder. This one is not based on a specific event, but crimes like these happen everywhere, and it breaks my heart every time I hear of such a case being dropped by the police. For now, these books have to wait. I still need to buy groceries before the farmer's market closes. I won't be gone for too long anyway. With that, I left my apartment. Not knowing what I would get myself into very, very soon. What I would encounter on that day would change me forever. The weather was overcast and a bit foggy when I went outside. A perfect scene for a mystery novel, to be precise. As I walked down the street, I had noticed some turmoil ahead. A group of my neighbors stood together discussing something. I recognized one of the women. Gertrude, an elderly woman who lived not far from my apartment. Next to her stood a police officer. I knew his face all too well. It was Officer Yeager, and it looked like he was interviewing the people. I decided to get closer. Do any of you know the man in this photo? Let me have a look. I don't know. His face seems familiar. Oh wait, isn't that Hendrik? You're definitely right. It's Hendrik from number 17 on Recendum. You rarely see him these days. I can't remember if I've seen him out on the street. This man never leaves his house, or if he does, it's always at night. I also think I saw him with some shady-looking people recently. I'm asking you because this man was reported as missing. Oh, he went missing. About a week ago. Did you happen to see him sometime during the last week? No, I'm sure it was longer ago than that. As the little group was talking, I tried to catch a glimpse of the photo they were passing around. Yeah, that was definitely a picture of Henrik Ferdinand. From what I knew about him, he was some sort of well-known scientist in the medical field, very well respected in the industry, or at least he was. Didn't Hendrik fall from grace not too long ago? Yeah, they never mention him on the radio anymore. From what I've heard, he lost his job 2 years ago. I tried to listen to the conversation, not getting myself involved until the police officer started to talk to me. "I know you, young man." "Who, me?" "Yes, you." I'm not sure." I started to nervously fumble with the charm in my pocket. I did in fact know exactly what he meant. I'd seen him a few times at the occasional crime scene before. We did not get along well. "Pretty sure I know you." He moved closer to me, looking suspiciously at my face. "Aren't you that nosy journalist?" "Well, yes, I'm indeed a journalist, but I don't know about nosy." "Yes, Officer Yeager. His name is Albert Schreiber." "Get out of here, Albert. This is none of your business." "But I also live here." "Is that so?" "Yes, he does." He studied me again. "Don't care. Get lost before I write you a ticket." "A ticket for what? For helping?" "Get lost." I slowly backed away from Officer Yeager as he pulled out a notepad and pen from his pockets. There was no need to get in trouble. But I was curious. What was all that about? Gertrude still looked at me. I bet she was excited about the possibility of getting me in trouble with the police. But I wasn't here to give her that satisfaction. In fact, I was out there to buy groceries. So I decided to do my shopping just as planned, go back to my apartment and wait for a better time to check things out. Preferably directly at Hendrik's apartment. I stepped outside my apartment again after nightfall. The air felt cold and the cloudy sky still hadn't cleared up. Let's see. Which direction is Riesendam? What are you doing out so late? Oh, Gertrude, it's you. Good evening. Don't evade my question, young man. I'm just running some errands. You know, submitting some papers to the printer. Albert, you're a bad liar. Are you getting into trouble again? Is this about your conversation with Officer Yeager earlier today? No, you're getting it completely wrong. I mean, I would never break into a crime scene. You really need to stop that sort of behavior. I know you'll get yourself into trouble one day. End up like Henrik. She shoved the picture of Hendrik under my nose. Did the police let her keep it? Don't worry, I know when to back out. Albert, I'm really disappointed in you. If only you had a good family and parents to raise you. Then you would have become a proper gentleman. That's kinda rude. And not someone who sneaks around at night. I took a deep breath. In the past, this would anger me. But after hearing it so often, I became indifferent to it. You know what, Gertrude? I have to go now. I wish you a nice evening and a good night. Better not stay outside for too long. With that, I hastily walked away before I got myself involved in more idle banter. My goal was 2 streets away, towards the bridge. The curiosity. After a short walk over the canal, I reached the building. I looked over the nameplates on the postbox beside the entrance to determine this apartment number. It's an apartment building? It looks like a castle. Checking under the door of the building, I was relieved to find that it was unlocked. Quietly, I slipped inside and up the stairway in search of apartment 202. I found it on the 2nd floor, right around the corner of the staircase. To my surprise, a yellow note hung on the door. The lock was broken. Someone had already opened it by force. I got closer and read the little note. Crime scene. Do not enter. Police department oh boy. Spierstadt? Spikerstadt?
Speicherstadt.
Ha, as if a little note like this could stop me. This place is a mess. Did Hendrik leave his home like this? Or is this another masterwork of the police department? Maybe there are some clues left for me, so I can figure out what the hell's going on. I'll search around for a bit. Carefully, I closed the door behind me. I was sure that nobody would come by at this hour of the night, but I had to be cautious. Getting caught could get me into serious trouble. Oh, a diary. Lucky find. Hopefully I can find some clues in here. It has been 3 months since I lost my position at the company. I'm running out of money. Soon, I won't be able to afford rent. At this point, I'd take any job just to get the money flowing again. Not a lot of other important information here. He mostly writes about his daily life while unemployed. I'll skip forward a few pages. A nice gentleman contacted me today. I found it a bit weird that he turned up at my door out of the blue. Apparently, he knew about my situation and said he had an important job offer for me. Good payment, too. He handed me some papers with the details and told me he'd be back in a few days to hear my decision. I'm kind of excited about all of this. Another entry. The gentleman was back today, this time with a colleague. They wanted to know what I had decided. The papers were lacking in information, so I barely know anything about the project, but I accepted anyway. Money is money, right? And at least it'll keep me occupied for a while. Being unemployed for all these months has almost bored me to death. A few of the pages are missing. Looks like they were ripped out. I want to quit this job. I'm no longer in it for the money. Everything about this project is so shady, but I'm scared of what they'll do to me if I quit. That's the last entry. What is all of this? Who censored these documents? The police? Hendrik himself? And what was on them that needed to be hidden? Couldn't they just throw documents out or burn them? What's left uncensored seems to be irrelevant information about the transportation of goods across Europe. I can always take another look at this later if I want to. Lots of mechanical tools. I have no knowledge about this kind of stuff, but they look well used. The only thing I recognize are those magnifiers and some tweezers. I guess someone would need those for intricate work, like clockmaking. a collection of books on various topics. Let's see, several volumes on human anatomy, and a few zoology books too. Some about physics and chemistry, and a whole lot of books on electronics and mechanics. Hendrik worked in a medical field in the past, right? Something focused on technical instruments for diagnostics. I think the company he worked for is called Holy fuck. Meyer Roentgen Technology? But that's all I know about his past occupation. I'm sure there's nothing important for me to find in these books, so I'll leave them for the time being. I should look through his trash bin. There's still some paper scraps in here. I can't believe no one turned this inside out yet. I never expected much from those police officers to begin with. I should take a closer look at the paper scraps I found earlier. Oh shit, a puzzle. Okay, paper, and paper, and paper. Ah, okay, that lined up. This is a rip, so it's not the edge. This is the edge. That doesn't match up. Alright. Oh, that matched up. Oh, no, it didn't. That looks pretty good. That. Then. Like that. That is not correct. Alright. That's not right. I mean, that matches up perfectly, but that makes more sense. Okay, so that's there for sure. There we go, that matches. There we go. There we go. This looks like some kind of receipt. On the payment for a boat docking permit? Yeah, it seems to be an address at the pier. That could be interesting. I didn't think this broke scientist would own a boat. The date on the receipt is from just last month. No wonder he ran out of rent money so quickly. Yeah, I should check the pier. Maybe the boat is still there. Suddenly, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. I didn't know what it was. Perhaps my intuition, but I had an urgent feeling that I shouldn't stay here any longer. I left as quickly as I could. The only thing I forgot in my hurry were the receipt scraps on the desk, a mistake I would regret shortly after. I left the apartment building and stepped outside. Luckily, there was no one on the street to slow me down as I continued my way. The moon had risen far up into the night sky and gave the city a moody glow. It was a short walk back over the canal and further south towards the harbor. But on the way across the bridge, I made the second most terrifying discovery of my life. Is that someone laying in the street? Hello? Over there, you okay? Can you hear me? I approached to see if the person needed my help. The body was utterly mutilated. Several deep cuts ran across the body in seemingly random directions. The clothing was already soaked deep red. This person was dead. I slowly turned the body around to look at the face in the glow of the street lamp. My blood froze. Gertrude laid in front of me. Her dead, wide eyes stared right at me. A deep red triangle was cut into her forehead. Blood was everywhere. Then it hit me. My memory. It's so dark in here. Mama, Papa, where are you? Mama, Papa, Mama, are you alright? Say something, Papa. I fiercely shook my head to get the pictures of the past out of my mind. But the present didn't look any less grim. The way Gertrude had been slaughtered looked exactly like how my parents had been killed. This is bad. Really, really bad. Gertrude, I'm so sorry. This should have never happened to you. The same fate, like my parents faced. A murder that was never solved, because nobody seemed to care back then. I closed Gertrude's eyes and stepped back. I noticed that she still held something in her hand. It was a crumpled piece of paper. I took it and opened it up. It was the photo of Hendrik. I turned it over, and something was written on the back that hadn't been there before. Stay away. Why were you here, Gertrude? Did you follow me earlier? If so, what for? Did you see something that I didn't? It became clear to me that this was truly a dangerous situation. But I had a feeling I was in too deep already. I needed to figure out who killed Gertrude and what had happened to Hendrik. I hoped he was still alive and that there was a chance to save him before he faced the same fate. With my fearful, but determined, heart beating loudly, I continued on to the pier. Finally at the pier, I looked around nervously. Did somebody follow me here? But nothing. I couldn't see a single soul around. I could only hear the waves splashing against the concrete. Even the noisy seagulls were asleep. I walked along the water, looking for the docked boat from the receipt. I reached it a few minutes later. To my surprise, it wasn't a sailboat, but a little well-kept houseboat. Wow, this boat looks like it must have cost a lot of money. But it's the right spot, so it must be his. Time to inspect it a bit more closely. I stepped onto the boat. The planks beneath my feet looked clean and well cared for. I couldn't find anything special up on the deck, so I went for the door leading inside. It was locked. Well, that was kind of expected. Of course it's locked. And that won't stop me. I'm a professional. I reached for my wallet and pulled out a long and thin metal tool. This'll do the trick. A few clicks later and the door was open. I went inside. A pale glimmer from the lamps along the pier shined through the windows. Despite the light, it was hard to make out more than just shadows. I reached for my flashlight and turned it on, covering most of the light with my hand. I didn't want the light to flash through the windows and risk anyone spotting me in here. Compared to the apartment, the interior of the houseboat is surprisingly clean and organized. Considering that and the fact that the door was still locked, I'm pretty sure no one else has searched here yet. Well, that certainly is interesting. Let's see what kind of clues Hendrik left. Well, there's a hatch on the floor. It's not locked. What's in here? An open cardboard box with some triangle-shaped metal pieces inside. What is this? A puzzle? A toy? No, the edges are too sharp to be a toy. Maybe it's some sort of machine. The parts don't look broken, and it does seem like they fit together. I'll take a closer look later. Papers. There's a folder with some papers inside. On the title it says, Project Morgengrauen. On a closer look, I think this is a collection of his work documentation. Is this about that job that Hendrik accepted? Entry number 1. Started working on Project Morgengrauen. Went through the data team provided me. Read section 1 through 12 and then took some notes for later reference. Entry number 4. Took some photographs and additional sketches of the sample. Entry number 8. Ran third interval of testing. Sample seems to be faulty, or some required data is missing. Entry number 11. Sample is broken beyond repair. Started working on a replica. Entry number 19. New materials have been fully sourced. Construction of the new test object has started. Entry number 27. First interval of testing has been mostly successful. Entry number 32. The second interval of testing has been completed. The replica seems to be working, but unstable upon use. Added user instructions to section 17. Entry number 45. Noticed visual side effects while working with the new test object. This needs further investigation. That's the last entry in the documentation. I have no idea what this is all about, but it seems to be some serious intel. Books. Another diary from Hendrik. According to the date on this first page, this one is more recent than the other. If I'm lucky, they won't search for me here. Nobody knows I own this boat. Maybe I can also hide the replica under the deck. The best decision would be to just throw it into the Elbe instead, but I put so much work into it. There's still a small chance it will fall into the wrong hands anyway. I don't know. I don't know what I should do. I'll skip forward a few pages. I have no idea why, but I've heard them talking about how they want to awaken him and bring him back to Earth. I'm scared, but I know there's no way for me to run. No escape. Except one. That place. Where no human soul can follow me, where nobody can find me. I have to hurry. I have to go. Another entry. I saw him. Saw his eye. I can hear him. He's talking to me. Inside my head. Calling me. I am listening. And I will follow his voice. That was the last entry. I don't think there's anything else in here that could be of use. Maybe I can find a way to reassemble those triangle pieces. It looks like all the pieces should snap together easily. Let me give this a try. Click on a piece to rotate it. Okay. Oh boy, oh boy. Alright. Okay. This one. Need the continuation of the W. That's what I'm looking for. This boyo. Yeah, it looks right. Alright, then I got 2 lines coming in. Nope, that ain't right. No, it's gotta be... Nope. Oh boy, I think I'm going to be bad at this. Hey, I did it. There. It's one whole piece now. Wait, I think I recognize this. Right, this is one of the objects stolen from the museum. Oh god. It is! No, it can't be. It looks so new. Maybe this is the replica that Hendrik wrote about reconstructing. What am I supposed to do with it Before I could finish my thought, a bright light filled the space. My vision went blurry as the furniture around me slowly vanished into nothingness. The horror. Oh boy. What just happened? Where on earth am I? Am I even on Earth? The air was sticky, salty, like the smell of the ocean, only concentrated. The ground beneath my feet felt mushy and solid at the same time, like trudging across the bottom of the sea. Before me were several buildings sunken into the sand and covered in algae. The architecture didn't resemble anything I'd seen in my life. I couldn't even have imagined it in my wildest dreams. Bedazzled, I could only stare. Eventually, I looked down and realized the replica in my hands was gone. Am I dreaming? This place feels unbelievably eerie. Did that weird object cause all of this? Maybe I shouldn't have played with things I don't know anything about. I wonder if Hendrik has seen this place too. Is this the visual side effect he wrote about? How can I make it end? How can I get back? Without knowing what else to do, I started to walk. Put one foot in front of the other, without a direction to go in. All I knew was I had to find a way out. I stopped when I felt the ground shaking. It was subtle, but noticeable. I looked around, but nothing seemed to change. Suddenly, I felt even more uncomfortable, like somebody was watching me. I shivered. Despite the uneasy feeling, I continued on my way. I arrived at the entrance of one of the buildings. There was no door, just an open pathway leading inside. I decided to follow it. Along the way, the walls looked just as unusual as the facade. They were covered in polished, glossy tiles. I kept walking until I reached a spacious room. It was empty, except for the decorated walls. Upon closer inspection, the decorations were in fact letters and symbols. I touched the wall. All these writings. Is this repeating the same text? Hundreds of different languages. I think I recognize some. There's so many I've never seen before. And I can't recall most of these scripts. What is all of this? Have I just stumbled onto a religious site? My head started to spin as I scanned the uncountable number of lines. Finally, I found a language I knew. It read, "This place contains an important message. We considered ourselves to be a powerful culture. This plane is not a place of honor. No highly esteemed deed is commemorated here. Nothing valued is here. What is here was dangerous and repulsive to us." Is this the inscription at Chernobyl? "This message is a warning about danger. The danger is captured in this plane. It is still present in your time, as it was in ours. The danger is to the world, and it can destroy. The form of the danger is an entity of madness. The danger is unleashed only if you remain on this plane. This place is best shunned and left uninhabited. Leave immediately." What is all this about? As I turned around, I saw a door. It floated in the middle of the room, with seemingly no attachment to the rest of the building. Just a door. Is this here before? I got closer and touched its surface. The stone felt wet, but warm. I noticed a pattern on the door. Son of a bitch, okay. Do. Oh, is that? Alright. Okay. Here we go. This goes like that. Oh, not all the pieces are going to be used. Okay. Whoop. This is teaching me the shape that I need to make in the middle. Okay. I made the shape. And then do these form the rest of... I get it, okay. No, I don't. That is not correct. Alright. So we made this shape. Huh. Like, don't think making this shape has accomplished anything. Okay, that looks right. That looks right. Huh. Nope. Alright, that ain't it. Maybe that kind of lines up. Okay. I took a step backwards. A glow emerged from the stone. Light surrounded me yet again. I found myself standing back on the houseboat. I was at the same spot as before, holding the replica in my hands. It looked like nothing had changed at all. Then, right before my eyes, the replica fell apart. What was supposed to happen? Whatever. One thing is for sure, I'll never put this garbage back together again. Thank God I was able to get back unharmed. I heard noises from outside, footsteps walking on the planks of the pier. Then, a slight sway from the boat as someone stepped on it, and voices. From what I could hear, it sounded like 2 or 3 people. Shit. Who is that? Why are they here? I looked around me, searching for an exit. Maybe the windows? No, they didn't look like they open up. Only that one door leads to the deck, so hiding might be my only option. I put the loose parts of the replica inside my pocket and crawled under the desk. With the darkness of the night, they shouldn't see me immediately, but if they take their time to search around, I'll be done for. The intruders stayed a while on top of the deck. After a few minutes, the door opened and I heard footsteps enter the room. I saw 2 people in unusual-looking clothing. I didn't know Hendrik had such a nice boat. Glad we found that receipt. How did we notice it the first time we went through his place with the police? The police? These weird-looking people are with the police. One question still stands. Where is that scumbag? I can't believe we haven't found him yet. I'm sure he must have left the city by now. Our troops have already started looking for him in the surrounding area. Let's just hope he hasn't destroyed his work. We're so close to our goal. You're right, that would set us back so much. I'm sure he was cowardly enough not to take it with him. And once we find it, it shall be time. Time for our savior to awaken and come back to Earth, and help humanity reach the next level of evolution. Let us take a look around. Maybe he hid the replica in here. My body tensed up as I heard their footsteps approach my hiding place. No, no, no. Don't come closer. Don't look here. I had no chance. The cultists captured me. Oh my, what do we have here? Let me go. I tried to squirm, but one of them pressed me against the cabinet and held my arms tightly behind my back. Make one wrong move and I might break your wrist. Who are you? What are you doing here? Are you a friend of Hendrik? That's none of your business. My interrogator didn't seem to like my answer. He nodded to the one holding me. My captor tightened his grip. You really want me to hurt you, don't you? I clenched my teeth. The other one stepped closer to me. He reached out and put his hand into my pockets. I'm sure you won't mind if I have a look at your wallet, right? I suppose I can't change it. Oh, he's a quick learner. Albert Schreiber. Doesn't ring a bell. I'm not sure. Something about that name sounds familiar, but I can't put my finger on it. He slowly went through all of my personal documents inside my wallet. Oh, you're a journalist. If you're after my money, can't we make this a bit easier? Who said we're after money? I thought you were a clever boy. I'm sure you know exactly why we're here. He walked around me and reached into my other pocket. What do we have here? This looks a lot more promising. He pulled out the pieces of the replica. I had a feeling that yelling at them would be of no use to me. I stayed silent. Hendrik entrusted you with the artifact? He took a closer look at my face. Or are you nothing but a mere thief? Wait, what's this? He held up my lucky charm. Isn't that a keeper's emblem? That's damn right. Tell me, Albert, why would you carry a keeper's emblem with you? I have no idea what you're talking about. This was from my parents. Oh, I remember now. Gustav and Kahina Schreiber. Your parents were well-known keepers. That's why your name sounded familiar. You probably wonder why they died, right? They were killed during our big cleaning operations. I wish I'd been there myself to witness it. We got rid of a lot of troublemakers that tried to get in the way of our plans. What sort of cult do you two belong to? I guess we could tell you that, because we'll kill you too. We're members of the Cult of the Eye. What do you want? We only want to follow the prophecy and bring back the old one, the god that was sealed away millennia ago. Now, it's time for him to come back and help us all enter a new age. It's a pity you won't be around to witness it, because your life will end. A shadow appeared behind the two cultists. Everything happened so quickly. Ah! Urgh! Blood went everywhere. I ducked away and got on my knees. My hand fumbled to collect my charm as I crawled away. I didn't want to know what was happening. All I knew was that I had to get out of there. Behind me, I heard a loud thunk as bodies hit the floor. Sorry. Then, a moment of silence. I was about to reach the door. I heard a voice laughing behind me. The madness. Well, I got them good, right? The shadowy figure turned and looked at me. Only now I realized that it was human? Or was it? What? Who are you? Oh, my humble name is Hendrik Ferdinand. You can call me Hendrik. This can't be. Have these pesky little cultists caused you any trouble? Don't worry. Now they won't be able to hurt you anymore. He approached me and offered his hand. Here, I'll help you up. Thanks. I'm good, I think. Without taking the hand of the shadowy creature, I stood up and brushed the non-existent dust from my trousers. You can't be Hendrik. Who else would I be? You don't look human. You look like a monster. Monster? Oh no, you've got it all wrong. I ain't no monster. I'm just blessed. Blessed by Master. Well, as I looked down at the bodies on the floor, I decided not to push this argument any further. As long as that thing didn't kill me right away, I might still have a chance to live. I returned because I felt your presence. It was you, right? The human who went over to the plane? I followed you back here. It wasn't easy for me to return, but it's all for a good cause. He's ready to be awakened soon. I can feel it. You might just happen to be the key that brought everything together for this to happen. We looked at the dead cultist laying on the floor and picked something up from beneath their bodies. Yes. Yes. This is what I've been looking for. Finally, we are able to get it. Look how useful they were, even though they weren't aware. In the end, I was the one who profited from their actions. Why did you kill them? I tried to hide the fear in my voice. Let's be honest. They weren't true followers of him. Their motives and wants were of inferior nature. They were just in it for the money, because the cult paid them well. But their goal was never to awaken the old one. That, and I also wanted to take revenge for what they did to me. But you're one of the good ones. Will help me, right? I still had no idea how to get out of this situation. But I was sure I did not want to end up like the other two. So I decided to play along for a bit. I don't know how I could be of any help. Don't worry. I only need an assistant, and you'll do just fine. All right. How rude of me to forget. What's your name, assistant? I'm Albert. Albert. Welcome to the team. Without saying anything further, he held up the object he picked up off the floor, carefully inspecting it from all angles. In the meantime, my eyes drifted to the windows. It was almost morning. I suspected the sun would start rising in just an hour. If my research was right, then I'd just have to. Hendrik proceeded to fumble with the device. I'm not sure how he made it happen, but the triangle pieces, still scattered all over the floor, started to shake. Slowly, like insects, they crawled over the floor. As they drew closer to Hendrik, they flew upward, swarmed through the air, and gathered around the object he was holding, like moths drawn into the light. They merged together and formed a whole new structure. Huh, it worked. Look at that. The replica was just a part of the whole. All this time we were still missing the other half. That was the reason it was never stable. But now, the full artifact is complete. Now, we can open the portal. The portal. Yes. You and me, humans, are able to travel between our world and the plane with the replica I've built. According to my theories, that's also how the original creators did it. But my master, the old one, will need an alternate opening to return from the jail they built for him. That's what the portal is for. It creates a rift between that plane and our world. Just look. He held the object forward. It started to glimmer. First, just a flicker, but the light grew brighter and brighter, until the whole room was intensely lit. A gust of wind pushed me against the wall. I held my arms in front of my face. As the wind died, I opened my eyes. The object floated in midair. And there was a door made out of light, projected by the artifact. Finally. It is time. Come along, Albert. He grabbed my arm. Before I realized it, he pulled me through the portal. And back I was, at the same uneasy place as the last time. The sky was just as gloomy as before, and the air still smelled of seawater. I turned around and saw Hendrik next to me. He stared into the vastness. I'm back, my master. Awaken, open your eye, and bless us with your presence. I felt the floor shaking, just like before. Something felt off. Something about the sky had changed. I heard whispers all around me, and my sight went blurry. I looked at Hendrik, but he still wasn't paying me any attention, instead raising his hands into the sky. Yes, he had completely gone mad. My head started pounding. Everything in my brain was screaming all at once. I looked straight at the horizon in the same direction as Hendrik. My temples hurt, and thinking got harder and harder. Then, I saw something that looked so unreal I could barely comprehend it. It stared right at me. I felt it burn through my eyes, looking straight into my head, my heart, my soul. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. My mind went foggy. Everything around me seemed to sink, melt, float away. Everything and all at once. I heard the voice inside my head. Albert. Who? Albert, you have to listen. No, it was several voices speaking at once. Everything is going to be okay if you follow us. They sounded soft, comforting. We can help you, Albert. They wrapped me in a warm blanket in this cold, eerie environment. Help you open your inner eye. I stayed silent and listened. See and understand things you were never able to grasp before. Albert. In the far corner of my head, I heard a yelling voice. You have potential, Albert. It was hard to focus on the source of the scream. The gentle voices fully filled my head, blocking all other sounds. Albert. Albert. Then, the scream got clearer. How could he betray me like this? Albert, my master is trying to kill me. I snapped out of my trance. Not far away from me stood Hendrik, barely able to hold himself up straight. He looked at me in terror. Even in his inhuman form, I could see him suffering. I wanted to reach out to him, but I couldn't. My body was frozen in place, and the voices got louder. Albert. They didn't sound so friendly anymore. Let him be. Hendrik is of no use to us anymore. We need a human vessel. A vessel. My mind felt sluggish as I spoke. Don't worry, Albert. It won't hurt for long. Everything around me went dark. I came back to myself on the floor of the boat. The light portal had closed, and the artifact Hendrik built lay next to me. He wasn't with me. What happened? I slowly got up. Somehow, my mind still felt hazy, but I could feel it clear up, bit by bit. I reached inside my pockets. My charm was gone. Damn, I must have lost it somehow. You won't need that anymore. I froze. Thank you for being our new vessel. We will require some more time to hone our power. Then our reign in this world can begin anew. All the events I told you are true. It was a misty autumn day in my hometown, Hamburg. Everything happened during one single day and night, but it isn't over yet. I'm writing all of this down because the world has to know. Because knowledge is the only thing that might be able to save us still. My memory has become foggy these days, and I don't have many clear days left. One day, I'll forget it all. Damn, alright. Hell of an ending. I really liked that. I don't know if there's multiple endings, I'll have to look into that, but very, very well written, pretty well paced. It may be puzzle variety beyond jigsaw puzzles, but, you know, for a game jam, limited time, limited, you know, assets, like, still, the art is great. I love the art style of this. The interface of it, the universe, very, very well done. Huge fan of it. Definitely looking for anything more from this developer. With that, I hope you folks have a great night. Stay safe out there.